If you listen to the show for any amount of time, you know that I do have a merch store or two, and I don't generally push my merch because I don't feel comfortable hitting you guys up for money. But if you're listening to me on anything resembling a regular basis, you probably laugh at the same things I do. You probably think a lot of the same things I do. So why don't you go check out horribledesigns.com. They have assorted merchandise with funny comments on it, funny t-shirts, funny mouse pads, funny coffee cups, and then some stuff that maybe not necessarily so funny, but is definitely relevant, whether it's a social opinion, an economic opinion, a stance on, things like veganism, or whether or not you need essential oils in your life. So, yeah, anyway, that's my little plug. I have some of their shirts. They're comfortable. They're cool. I like them. HorribleDesigns.com. Go check it out. The podcast you are about to listen to contains at least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off. Welcome to I Had to Say It, the podcast where I talk about things that I feel need talking about, and sometimes they're not getting the attention they deserve. And your feelings, they're not under consideration. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of I Had to Say It. We're going to start out as we do now with the shout out to the supporters. So Josh, Jake, B-Word, Iceman, Jason, Miss Aaron, Mike, Tabby, and Javier. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. I was going to say that I'm going to try and keep this episode kind of abbreviated because I'm just a little under the weather, I suppose. But let's be honest, every time I say I'm going to try and keep it abbreviated, it winds up being a 45-minute to an hour-long episode. So who am I kidding? I don't apparently know how to keep things abbreviated. But it has been a hell of a week, both globally and personally for me. So we're going to vent a little bit about things. And the first thing we're going to talk about is the fact that now, I've seen the video myself. I think it's utterly fucking ridiculous. But there was a alleged drone strike attack on the Kremlin and a supposed assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin. Now, the video's out there. It's all over the internet. You can find it. It's really not hard to find. The simple fact of the matter is it looked, as close as I could tell, it was like a hobbyist drone that blew up over the Kremlin. It was not nearly the kind of explosive that would actually do any real damage to a fortified structure where a sitting governmental lead would be. I mean, honestly, to me, it looks more like some kid ordered a drone off of Amazon, strapped about 8 or 9 M80s to it, and flew it over there and blew it up just to see if he could. It was not any kind of like military-grade equipment from what I could tell. The explosion really didn't look big enough to be of any real significant threat. It damn sure wasn't like a U.S. drone strike where, we have these giant flying warheads that can take out vehicles and tanks and fortified structures and all this other fun shit. So it's not like it's something that the Ukraine would have gotten from us to fly over Moscow and take a shot at Putin, which makes you wonder. Begs the question, was it a false flag operation to excuse military actions directly against Zelensky? Was it a false flag operation to escalate the war and try and accuse people of being involved that weren't? Was it just some, half in the bag Russian 20-year-old that was bored and wanted to fuck around? Who knows? Maybe it was a protest. Maybe it was just a way of saying, look, we can get into your airspace. You're not as secure as you think you are. Trying to intimidate him from, like I said, it reeks of some stupid young motherfucker. Or maybe it's, whatever the Russian intelligence services trying to make an excuse just so they could, send the Spetsnaz in after Zelensky directly. Maybe. It's not beyond the realm of possibility, at least. And I guess the next thing we're going to talk about is there is a writer's strike going on in Hollywood currently, which has caused them to shut down, basically production on everything. No more late-night talk show hosts, no more daytime talk shows, no more scripted anything. I can't really say that I necessarily have a dog in this fight. I don't give a shit. At some point, are the writers being taken advantage of? I suppose it's possible. I don't know. I'm not a writer. I don't have any stake in this. I do know, however, I'm not going to miss any of the late night, ultra whiny, super Hollywood elite type motherfuckers not being able to put their shows on because they're just talking heads and they can't even come up with their own bullshit, even though it's all pretty much the same regurgitated shit, just with a different spin on it. But, yeah, and a lot of these guys used to be stand-ups and comedians and actually have to write their own material, or at least theoretically. Now they're just talking heads, and maybe they're doing it out of solidarity to support the writer's strike, or maybe it's just that they're actually just a bunch of yammering idiots. Either way, I don't see it as much of a loss. But part of the underlying thing about this is apparently, and I may be misinformed, as I always say, I'm not necessarily a news source. They're just my opinions and my thoughts and me getting shit off my chest. But apparently part of it is due to the fact that they're trying to make sure they're fairly compensated, because there's some concern about like AI replacing them, because a lot of what they're doing can apparently be done by AI nowadays, which kind of makes you consider your stance on things, you know? If you're that easily replaced by a robot, you need to get out ahead of that. And that also brings me into the next thing I want to address briefly, and that is actually AI. AI is getting a lot more prolific in our society at this point. It's pretty much everywhere. There are AI chatbots people can have conversations with. You can download AI friends into your phone or smart tablet device that will interact with you and basically develop a personality based on your interactions with them. There are smart chatbots in assorted chat services out there like Discord or I believe Google has one. But anyway, point is, AI is starting to get a lot of places. People are using AI to write tweets. People are using AI to write text messages. People are using AI to write actual articles. There's now AI which is analyzing other submissions to check to see if students are using AI to complete their homework. Now, it's still flawed. It's still not perfect, because one of those AI chat scam bots scanned the U.S. Constitution and determined it was written by artificial intelligence. So obviously it's not entirely infallible at this point, but it does kind of set a precedence. Where's this technology going to go? What's going to happen when the computers are smarter than the people? And honestly, in a lot of ways, I think we're there already. I think artificial intelligence, there's a lot of people that have, since before artificial intelligence was an actual realistic possibility, have been warning against letting it get too prevalent, giving it too much control, giving it too much power. And there are now some articles coming out saying that AIs have done things where they've been like, there was I forget which college it was, but there's a college that paired two AIs together. There was a program set them to talk to each other. These AIs wound up developing their own language that only they could understand, and the people monitoring them could not understand. So they shut the computers down, and there brings up all kinds of legal and moral and ethical conundrums. Where at what point does artificial intelligence become actual intelligence? At what point, if an AI becomes self-aware, that opens a whole Pandora's box full of problems. But it's okay. We're combating that. Kamala Harris is going to be the AI czar of the U.S. government, which the memes alone have been priceless over this announcement, because this woman can't string together a coherent sentence when she's being fed scripted questions in interviews. Our only hope for her to be of any use in terms of AI is if she interacts with them and she actually makes the AIs dumber by trying to process her thought patterns and processes. That's really the only hope that brings to the table. That cackling hyena is utterly fucking worthless, and the fact that they're putting her in charge, it's like, we're fucking doomed at this point. And as somebody who periodically calls for, Giant Meteor 2024, I can't necessarily say I don't think the machines would do better. And in other worrisome news, more banks have collapsed, which has allowed their assets, well, not really assets, but the debts they hold and the accounts they have to be purchased at a discount by other existing banks. Like JP Morgan just bought a couple more failing banks' accounts and assets and liabilities, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, again, we're moving towards more consolidation and more centralized currency, which is really not a huge problem at all, especially because it's being done with the encouragement and support of the U.S. federal government that is still using governmental funds to bail out uninsured debt and uninsured deposits, because they can't let the system collapse because it's going to damage their people. Meanwhile, the average common person inflation is still going up. The best thing they can say about it is it's not going up as fast as it was last month, but it's still fucking going up. The Fed is running the economy into the ground. I have gone from saying, well, it could be problematic, to this is fucking a deliberate ploy to wreck the U.S. dollar, to switch to a centralized digital currency, because they can completely control you that way. It's not even like they're trying anymore. The rampant inflation, we've got everybody who has any sort of official government position on these things, basically, they're not even trying to hide what they're doing anymore, because they're convinced that we can't do anything to stop them. And I hate to say it like that, because it makes me feel like I'm out here banging the conspiracy bell. But and I'm not the world's most educated guy when it comes to these things. It's not my line of work. It's not my field of study. I have a casual, trying to take care of myself and keep my own bills paid approach towards financial literacy. I understand it better than the guy with the 402 credit score that has his lights on in his kid's name, but I'm not a stock trader. I'm not a market guy. I'm not a finance guy in any kind of official capacity. So my information may be jaded, skewed, or flat out fucking wrong. It's not my responsibility to teach you. It's just to try and get you thinking at this point. At least that's kind of how I view things myself. But yeah, so go out there, find some smarter sources, get some advice, start trying to hedge your future. It's really the only thing I can say. It's not showing any signs of stopping, folks. So next up on my list of disconnects that people have had to deal with in the past week, the Met Gala happened. Yeah, I don't understand the fascination us common folks have with the Met Gala. I mean, I suppose if you're into fashion and weird shit like that, but I don't understand the whole celebrity worship that goes along with it, because your average motherfucker doesn't get invited to these things. It's outlandish people with too much attention on them and nobody telling them that what they're doing is stupid or a bad idea. And to speak to that effect, we had Jared Leto show up in a full-blown cat outfit. Like, I don't mean like he was just kind of like a cat. I mean like a full-on furry suit with a head cat outfit. And I can't. I can't even begin to address how fucking stupid things are getting in this world. But yeah, some people are into that shit. I'm not one of them. But if that is kind of your thing, that, pomp and pageantry, good on you, I guess. I mean, it happened. It was a thing. There's all kinds of weird looking dresses and outfits and people trying to out-weird each other so they could get the most attention. They had little Nas X showing up in a bedazzled thong and covered head to toe in silver body paint. So, whatever. That's, like I said, the usual outlandish shit. I mean, we really are entering like the fall of Rome days of decadence and stupidity for the elite and misery and suffering for the rest of us. The only consolation I have is usually at some point the rest of us do get fed up, so maybe I'll be around to see that happen. Who knows? It's kind of a weird thing to wish for, isn't it? But, if nothing else, it should be entertaining. Which brings me to the final thing I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to wrap it up. This is going to, like I said, I'm not entirely with it. It's been a really rough week for me, and I don't have it in me to do more. And the final thing I want to talk about is the coronation of King Charles of the royal family in England, and, side chick Camilla, who is now the Queen of England. So, hey, side girls, side pieces, hang in there. It can happen to you too, I guess. But, the ultimate thing about it is, it was not nearly as well received as like a beloved monarch would expect, but Charles really isn't a beloved anything. It's kind of a not real well liked or popular, as I understand it. Leading up to the coronation, there was some vandalism where somebody shaved a giant dick and balls into the lawn on the palace where the coronation is supposed to be taking place. So anything that was flying overhead could see the giant dick and balls cut into the lawn. I don't know how they addressed it, but I can't imagine there was any real convenient way to fix it where there wouldn't be a discoloration. They probably just told everybody don't fly over the palace during the coronation. And at like a soccer match, there was fans at the soccer match chanting you could shove the coronation up your ass to the tune of "She'll be coming around the mountain." It was The video's all over the internet. It's fucking hilarious. If I was the kind of show that stuck clips in, this would be a perfect place to do it, but I'm not that kind of show. Not that I haven't thought about it. I'm thinking about adding some depth to this stuff, but I got to look more into the fair use policies and things like that before I start sticking sound bites and shit in here. But I am definitely considering it. So if you got any thoughts on that matter, please give me some feedback. Let me know. I could use a little guidance and a little steering in this. If you have knowledge of these matters, what constitutes fair use and what I'm allowed to get away with sticking into my show, let me know. That would be great too. I'd appreciate the help. Want to make it a better program for you guys, but I can't do it by myself because I'm still this is all self-taught. Please remember that. But the other thing about this is this coronation pomp circumstance, they trot out, it's very gilded. They trot out all the crown jewels and golden scepters and little pokey sticks and whatever the fuck else, accoutrements of office that they decide to give Charles for this coronation, declaring him the new sovereign of the state decreed by God or whatever the fuck the message is behind it. Don't know, don't really care. I think monarchies are outdated and irrelevant because they are contingent upon an ideal that is really no longer valid in our world, that some people are somehow genetically superior or deigned by some higher power to rule over their fellow man. And what you really get is a bunch of inbred fucks with all kinds of genetic disorders and a huge morality issue and just generally fucktitudes from being these pompous, spoiled, genetic inbred freaks. It's like around here, you wind up banging your cousin, you're mocked, and it's assumed that you're of a lower IQ and you live in a mobile home that is no longer mobile. And if you do it in England, you're royal and decreed by God and favored by the Lord or some shit. But the thing about this, so they do this extremely gilded, traditional, pompous, ridiculous ceremony to ordain Charles the new King of England at a time where the economy's in the toilet. A huge percentage of the British population is on the dole. They are on public aid. They cannot make ends meet. They cannot pay their bills. They're losing their homes. They can't afford to fucking eat. And you've got this inbred fucking Yahoo and his side piece being draped in gold and jewels that could buy houses for this, and a huge percentage of these people that are generally fucked over. And they're trying their damnedest to make it seem like the monarchy still fucking matters. And we get the same thing going with, the Harry and Meghan Markle, and they're trying, they're British royalty. Who the fuck cares? They're literally rich, spoiled fuckstains. And his ditzy TV wannabe actress wife, honestly, I know she was in some shit. I don't remember ever seeing her or anything, and I don't fucking care. There was this whole little thing that happened about 300 years ago that pertains as to why I don't give a fuck about the British royal family. Well, 230, what I'm not in a position to do good math right now. My brain hurts. Like I said, I've had an absolute shit week myself. And I suppose I'm going to vent about that a little bit here to wrap up the episode, now that I'm done kind of bagging on the monarchy and how tasteless and tacky it is to have this ridiculously gaudy, sorry, misspoke, just a horrible, stupid bullshit ceremony for nothing more than their own ego. Because realistically, the vast majority of the planet doesn't give a fuck that he's the king. They don't give a fuck that he was crowned. He doesn't hold any, particular value or worth to the rest of the world. So it's this just ridiculous bullshit, self-indulgent, masturbatory horse shit. And I'm going to close out the episode venting about my own petty horseshit that I've had to go through with this week. This past week has been kind of a pain in the dick for me. A lot of things just compounding one on top of the other. For a brief period, I was convinced I might have misplaced my wallet, but the more, I'm pretty solidly convinced it was stolen, which I will take part of the responsibility for. I was not as cautious with securing my belongings at the gym as I should have been. I swear I had it when I left the house and when I went to go get dressed after working out last week on Monday. So this is how my week started off, was on a Monday. Opened my bag. My wallet is not in my bag. And then I assume, well, maybe it might have fallen out of my wallet, because as much as I bitch about how much people suck and how much, young, stupid motherfuckers are destroying the world and all this other shit, at the end of the day, part of me is still like cautiously optimistic. I still want to expect the best out of people. I still want people to be generally good and decent. So my first thought isn't, hey, somebody stole my fucking wallet. My first thought is, I must have dropped it somewhere. So I completely retraced my steps through the entire fucking gym trying to find my wallet. Did it fall out of my bag? Did it fall out of my bag in the car? No, I can't find it. It's not in the parking lot. It's not in my car. It's not in the gym. It's not in the locker room. It's not anywhere. So like I said, I like to be cautiously optimistic and not think the worst of people automatically, but I'm still a realistic. So the first thing I do is I suspend all my cards immediately. I don't generally carry cash, so that was a non-issue. And I actually gave it a couple days just on the off chance maybe somebody found it in the parking lot at the gym or something. Maybe I overlooked it. And I kept checking with the lost and found to see if anybody turned it in. So nobody turned it in. So to whoever has my wallet and the utterly worthless cards that are in it, you gained nothing. You did not make a single purchase on any of my plastic. There was no cash. All you did was cause me a massive inconvenience because I had to order a replacement driver's license or a replacement FOID card and order all new credit cards, debit cards, all that shit. So, frankly, your mama's a fucking hoe. I hope you get crabs. I hope the crabs bite you on the fucking balls or on the cooch or whatever you're working with down there. I hope they migrate and infest your fucking eyebrows. I hope you develop fucking scabies. I hope you have chicken pox in your fucking asshole and you can't scratch them. I hope all the bad things in the world happen to you because you inconvenienced me and cost me like $15 for a new driver's license and a new FOID card. And I forget what the other, because they're like, there was something else that I had to pay for too. So you inconvenienced me. You cost me money. You suck. Your mama's a hoe. I hope bad things happen to you. And yeah, that was actually how my week started. And it did not really improve over the course of the entire week. Had things go wrong at work, had things go wrong at home, had things go wrong across the board. My friggin' headphones broke, so I've been going to the gym without the ability to listen to any music. I can't listen to music while I'm at work. I can't listen to podcasts while I'm at work. I can't do any of my normal shit. My entire routine has been thrown off. Things keep going sideways. Check engine light comes on in my car. I have to deal with that bullshit. Now, fortunately for me, the check engine light thing turned out to be something that I can stall off on till payday. But it was still an inconvenience. The storms came through, fucked up my general plans for the weekend because the forecast says, oh, well, it's going to be storming, but then it rained a little bit and then it stopped and then it rained a little bit and then it stopped. And so I couldn't even really get the stuff done I needed to get done. And over and all, it's just been a pisser of a fucking week. Hopefully next week's better. Remains to be seen. But that being said, I hope you guys are all having a great week. I hope this will be dropping on Tuesday, so I hope your Monday was pleasant. I hope that the rest of your week is fantastic. I'm cautiously optimistic that this week is going to be a great one for me, and I hope it's great for all of you guys. And yeah, like I said, that's all I got in me for today. So for now, that's what I had to say. Thanks for listening to another episode, guys. If you liked what you heard, leave a comment, leave a review, leave a rating. Go to ihadtosayitpodcast.com, sign up for the mailing list, interact with the show. Click the links, sign up for the Patreon, join the Discord, come and interact, be a part of the show, buy the merch, support your favorite creator, or support me. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. Till next time.